Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Twitter space with Layer Akira and Starkware. Let's just give it a few seconds for people to join. People joining from all over the world. Hi, Winston and Mickey. Where are you guys joining from?
I'm currently in London.
And I'm currently reporting from Sydney, Australia.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you for joining us in this late hour. Nice. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about Layer Akira. Would love for both of you to introduce yourselves and talk about your backgrounds and your roles within Layer Akira.
Cool. Maybe I will go first. So hi, everyone. I'm Mickey. I lead the non-tech side at Layer Akira. My background is actually in commercial law. So I spent the first half of my career practicing in commercial IP. So that's everything from managing IP transitions, commercialization, and licensing. I took a little career break mid last year because I really wanted to explore something more creative, do a bit of soul searching. And in November, I found myself at Layer Akira. So now I do pretty much everything non-technical, so mainly marketing, ops, strategy, and product, and I'm loving it.
Amazing.
So my name is Winston. At Layer Akira, I work on research. Prior to Layer Akira, I was a quant researcher working on systematic trading strategies at a relatively large trading firm called AlphaGraph.
Amazing. Cool. And I'm Devora. Hi, everyone. I work at Starknet in partner marketing and really excited to be here today. So let's talk a little bit about Layer Akira. It's described as a hybrid order book DEX. Let's break that down. What does that mean? What makes it hybrid? And how does this differ from traditional DEX models?
Yeah, this is actually a question that we get a lot. Like, what does the hybrid order book DEX mean? When we describe it as a hybrid, we're really referring to a hybrid of a fully on-chain and a fully off-chain model. So if you think about a fully off-chain model, that's like your centralized exchanges, so your Binance and Bybits. So what we do have on-chain are a set of smart contracts that manage user funds. So all deposits, withdrawals, and settlements happen on-chain. And that means that as a user, you get to maintain custody over your funds, which is the primary drawback of a off-chain model, is that you don't actually have custody over your funds. What we have taken off-chain is the actual order book and the matching engine. And the reason why we've done this is because order books are incredibly computationally heavy, because they're constantly updating with new buy and sell orders. And that means that it requires a lot of gas when you put these transactions through, but it also requires high processing power, which can really slow things down if we move that order book model fully on-chain. So I guess for a bit of context, something like your Binance would process hundreds, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of transactions every second. And by handling this off-chain, we can still maintain the same performance as a Binance, as well as fast transaction speeds and gasless order creation and cancellation. So that's kind of why we've taken a hybrid approach on how we've designed the actual DEX.
Awesome. And can you go into a little bit about what a centralized limit order book or a CLOB means and how that's different from an AMM, an automated market makers? I know that's more, I think more people are familiar with AMM. So what's the difference between an AMM and a CLOB?
Yeah, so all existing DEXs on Starknet are actually AMM. So we are the first order book DEX, but maybe Winston, you're probably the best place to kind of explain the different exchange designs and structures and how we differ.
Yeah, so often people compare an AMM to a DEX, and often it's a us versus them debate. But the reality is that both models serve a different user base. There are many situations where AMMs are better for the trading experience for end participants, and these are for like trading meme coins. But for mature assets, ETH, Stark, so on, you really kind of need an order book, largely because order books allow for greater pricing precision. They allow you to express the trade that you would want to do, and it allows for market makers to sort of compete, to win your flow. Trading is an expensive endeavor, and if they're in a national equilibrium, they're trying to compete for your flow in order to both give you the best pricing And because often there's two different markouts that trading firms care about, but the horizon could be different for different participants. So long story short, like there can be two winners, and often this isn't the case with like an AMM who generally just leaks. If you're an AMM and you're providing liquidity, you can leak value through there.
Yeah,
Also, just to add on, so like for example, if I was like a trader and I wanted to do like $1 million swap of like ETH and Stark, if I go onto an AMM, like no matter how liquid it is, I'm going to experience huge slippage because the pricing I'm going to receive is going to be based on a curve. But on an order book, you have like what Winston mentioned is extreme pricing precision. So you know at the end what you're going to receive. And that's really important for like institutions as well as, professional traders as well.
I mean, interesting. So you would say like CLOBs is more for institutional, enterprise, bigger traders, and AMMs are more for individuals. Is that a good distinction?
I think definitely the first part. So CLOBs are essential for institutional traders, but even just like a retail trader who wants to have control over the pricing they're going to receive or receive better pricing on assets that are more mature, that have higher market cap, then I would definitely be placing those trades on an order book.
Interesting. Very cool. And so to step back a second, like how is this valuable for people both in traditional finance and in DeFi?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, if you're a trader, you want to execute at a price that is good. So it allows us to basically have a very tight spread. So the bid offer spread is a price that you can trade at immediately. And if you're able to call it one tick size being I think it depends on the particular instrument, but if it's 1/10 of a cent for Stark, it allows someone to either lift the offer and depending on how much size is there, not go beyond that price. But with AMMs, you sort of have I guess it's a curve, and if you try to execute with larger size, you're just going to move down that curve.
Yeah, and I think adding to that as well is we live in a bit of a bubble, especially on crypto Twitter, where we assume that kind of like most people are trading on DEXs. But if you're actually looking at user data, that's definitely not the case. So even just on like overall market spot volume, 85% or more than 85% are actually captured by centralized exchanges. And there are many reasons for that, but one of it is actually like trading infrastructure and how easy it is for market makers and institutions who are actually doing the bulk of the volume to use. And I think with LayerAkira, we really have a product that has the potential to onboard more institutional market makers and more traditional finance users because we have infrastructure that they're familiar with, whereas there would be a lot more onboarding friction if we're expecting these users to kind of upskill and learn how to commit that capital on an AMM and make money in that way as well.
That makes sense. And speaking of this user experience, I think what's very important to traders is security and trust. So LayerAkira emphasizes their non-custodial approach. So how do you explain how users' funds are secured and the importance of this to LayerAkira?
So users' funds are managed through our smart contracts, so they're fully non-custodial. Our smart contracts are fully open sourced and they've been fully audited by the Nethermind team. So users can rest assured that the funds are safe and when trading on LayerAkira.
Gotcha. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about LayerAkira and Starknet, as we're recent integration just went live. Can you talk a little bit about the key advantages of LayerAkira building on the Starknet ecosystem?
I think this is quite a layered question. Starknet, firstly, as a very new ecosystem, there was a lot of opportunity for us to kind of bring our trading expertise. So to give a bit of context, our core team comes from market making backgrounds and also backgrounds in building trading infrastructure. So it is an area that we're very experienced in. And we're also incubated by market makers, so they can bootstrap our liquidity and we don't have VC funding. But what this means is that we were kind of really well positioned to build this product on an ecosystem where the trading infrastructure didn't exist yet. So we really saw an opportunity there with Starknet to bring a really core DeFi product onto the ecosystem where as the ecosystem grows, there'll be a lot more opportunity and then other products can grow alongside with it as well. Zooming out a bit, Starknet also has an incredible tech stack and is built by very smart people that we have a lot of faith in. So really saw the chain as being very future-proof as well. I guess this is kind of something we talked about before where our order matching engine is still off-chain, but I think as the product develops, we see a lot of potential in reiterating that and improving that system. So whether that is leveraging ZKPs to make the off-chain order book component fully provable, or if Starknet can reach a performance level where we can bring that order book on chain, which is definitely the direction it's heading with all these major upgrades and improvements, we see that as really exciting for the future proof of our product and where it's going to develop in the future as well.
Amazing. Can you share some examples of how how Starknet dApps can integrate with LayerAkira?
Yeah, so we are fully composable, which means that dApps can either plug into us to access our liquidity, or if there is a spot trading component, you can build on top of us and build new products as well. In terms of potential integrations, I think the most obvious integration partners are with aggregators or wallets for their in-wallet swap feature. So we already have an integration live with Fibrous, and we are in active discussions of integrating with Avenue as well, which is super exciting. But also like for fully on-chain games, which is a huge narrative on Starknet now. So if you are building an on-chain game and you have an economy relating to Stark or USDC, then you can plug into us and allow us to handle that swap element. Other examples, so if you're a vault and you're creating looping strategies, you can swap through us and we can subsidize value leakage that goes into LPs and AMMs because we have better pricing. And for borrow lend protocols, so if you're like Vesu or ZK Lend, then you can also run your liquidations through us for better pricing as well.
Amazing. Can you go into the gaming example a little bit more, like, and talk about exactly how, like, is there a game, like, what type of games would go well with LayerAkira?
I don't have a specific example in mind, but if there is a game where there is a native gaming token and then in the end you have to swap it into USDC or Stark, then we can definitely facilitate that directly in game by plugging into our order book as well.
Super, super cool. Okay, let's talk a little really technical deep dive. Some of this might go over my head, but I would love to hear a little bit more about LayerAkira's off-chain matching engine and how that works exactly.
The matching engine works like any other matching engine that you see in like traditional finance. So a user will send a signed transaction to the matching engine. Checks are then done to ensure that all orders are valid. So ensuring that the market participant has a sufficient balance, and then afterwards, at a high level, the order will then either immediately match with the contra side, which is the other side of the book. So it can be like a marketable limit order or just a market order without a price attached and just a quantity. Otherwise, it will just passively get added into the order book, waiting for someone to interact with it. And then post that account balances and positions are updated to reflect the change in state.
Awesome. Are there any other features or technical features that you guys are particularly excited about or want to speak about?
Yeah, I think there are a few things in the pipeline that's coming up that we're really excited about. So if you look at LayerAkira now, I think there's a lot of confusion on the fact that we're an AMM because we look exactly like an AMM exchange. But in the background, we are powered by an order book. So over the next few months, especially leading on to Q1, Q2 next year, we do want to provide more of a traditional, I guess, trading experience that looks more like an order book. So that's giving users the ability to place limit orders, also provide charting as well. So when you go on LayerAkira, it will look more like a Binance and you can actually see how deep our order books are and where the pricing sits and where all the quotes are as well. So that's something that we're super excited about, and also hopefully list more tokens as well so that it gives users more optionality when they come to Akira.
Amazing. Cool. And if you are a developer and you want to build on LayerAkira's infrastructure, are there specific tools or resources that they can find?
Yeah, so Nikita from our team has spent hours of his life really fleshing out the technical docs. So hopefully they are super, super comprehensive and easy to use. Winston, are there also like SDKs, APIs?
Yeah, so as Mickey alluded to before, the team has spent a lot of time building and integrating tier one and tier two centralized exchanges just for in the past. And this also means that we have an SDK and an API that enables developers to interact with our order book in a way that they're familiar with. So if you're particularly interested in integrating, just ping us and we'd be more than thrilled to help.
And where can they ping you?
Discord works, or just I think we're pretty easy to find. So just reach out.
Amazing. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges. I think this is really interesting for other people building or other CLOBs that are looking to get out there. What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys have faced, and then how have you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge we face is really finding product market fit and then listening to the market and pivoting accordingly. So when we first started building LayerAkira, the vision of where we wanted to take the product was very different to where it is now. So initially, we didn't want to have a front end or a user interface of any kind. We really just wanted to be a liquidity layer. So for users to kind of plug into us, build products on top of us, etc. But the core issue that we realized pretty quickly is that if you don't control distribution of your product, then you really have to rely on others. And that means that the success and failure of your product you've put in someone else's hands as well. So in July, we decided that we're going to build out our own front end so that we could manage our own distribution. And it's been really exciting because from there, we've really built out our own community and brand. And it's also made integrations and partnership discussions a lot easier. So I think a big thing was overcoming this challenge is really listening to the market and not being like super attached to what you were going to build initially, and just be really like flexible in your approach.
And how did you guys figure this out? Was it through Discord or Twitter or feedback from people? How did you find this information out?
It was really like feedback from a lot of partners, and also realizing that marketing an infrastructure product to predominantly retail people is really difficult. So once we actually announced that we were going to have our own product, that's when like people actually started listening and were really excited about what we're building. And then it's still kind of, it really all leads back to the initial vision of wanting to improve liquidity on Starknet. So be flexible with your approach on how you achieve your goals. I guess it's like the summary of the big lesson there.
I think that's a really good lesson for life in general, but also for devs who are looking to build.
Yes. General life lessons.
General life lessons, exactly.
Exactly.
Awesome. Cool. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about? You want to share with your listeners about LayerAkira, about its collaboration with Starknet, anything further?
I think just like some final thoughts about like LayerAkira and DeFi and where the space is going. I guess we can see with recent market movements, especially around Hyperliquid and the success of that product, we're really starting to see the shift in where the market attention is going. Because before, I think there was a sort of acceptance that DeFi products would never be as good as a centralized exchange. But we're really shifting that dynamic now where you can actually bring products on chain that are just as good as the centralized version, which is really, really exciting. I think that for us, it also means that our like future and where we see the product, like we're really bullish, but obviously we're biased. But even just looking at Hyperliquid, it's like there's a lot of similarities between our product and how they've decided to develop and lead the decisions there. So we don't have any VC funding. We are fully bootstrapped by internal market makers that can provide liquidity. So I think we have a critical piece of the puzzle solved. So it's really exciting to see where we can potentially take DeFi on Starknet as well.
Amazing. Very cool, and we're super, super excited to have this product on Starknet and have more people be using it. And so, final thing, how can people get involved with LayerAkira? How can we find you?
Like Winston mentioned, we're pretty easy to find, so you can ping us on Twitter. We're also really active on Discord as well. And yeah, if anyone has any product feedback, ideas, or just want to chat generally, just ping us and we will make ourselves available.
Amazing. And if people want TikTok help, where can they find you?
You can message me on Twitter and I will try and post more tips there as well.
Amazing, amazing. Guys, Mickey is the queen of TikTok. She's amazing.
Yeah, if you want to feature in a new video in the future, I'm also taking expression of interest as well.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you soon.
Amazing. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Devorah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.